So I just know enough to share, and I learned it for the purpose of this project. I'm just curious to compile all the past year data right together and try to see whether what insights it may bring us lah. Without further ado, right, let me just share with you I just opened the file that I sent. Okay, so basically, right, what we are trying to do here is to learn how to use Power BI, right, to transform data. So data always come in from different sources. Sometimes a table on the website, sometimes it's just a file, or it could come in a nicer form that is already in Excel, right? So if it come in an Excel form, it's easy for Power Query to understand the format lah, because it already comes in columns and rows. But some sources, right, may come in a less clean way. So Power Query will try to interpret, right, where to draw the boundaries, right, for columns and rows, and try to turn the data into columns and rows. Yeah, so basically that's what is trying to do. So there's always a source to begin with, and then, right, we guide Power Query, right, to eventually, right, when you first the source to this let Power Query read it, right, it may come out quite dirty. Okay, it'll just be quite messy. So then you need to guide it, right, to turn it into the way that you want it to look. That's the basic principle. So when I first started this, right, I look at all this past year data. You can see that the past year results, right, always come in this kind of format. Okay, some properties, right, of the all these rows, right, all these entries being somewhere else other than inside the row itself. See the which race it is, the fact that it's a semi, and this is a C diff race and K4500. All these things, right, critical info that we want to associate with each entry, right, they are parked somewhere else. So I think for this particular example, right, that's the key concept lah. We want to do all these things, right, into the and associate with every entry, every row. So why don't we just copy and paste, right? Actually, that you could also, if the data source, right, is small enough, right, I think copy and paste is easier. And there's actually, right, some ways to don't use Power Query. I tried all the more beginner way. So you can export to a spreadsheet, right, and see what it gives you, right, and we can just try. Okay, it will come out in format, right, which is actually pretty close to what Power Query will be reading. Ultimately, right, is they follows the same algorithm of Excel lah. So you see, this is what we are getting in Excel after we export. So instead of getting clean columns, right, Excel has trouble recognizing that, for example, lane, right, should be just one column. It's using A, B, and C. Yeah, and you see, although we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns, right, in each table, but right, Excel end up using how many AW is like 26 plus another 23 like that. Okay, so Excel actually use 39 columns to create this thing. Yeah, so there's a lot of all these extra columns here, and all these cells are dirtily merged. Okay, if you do Excel, right, you know that one of the things that only beginners do, right, in Excel is to merge cells. Okay, people who do data, right, they don't merge cells one, because once you merge cells, right, you are combining columns across columns or across rows, and after that, right, it's a mess already. So in a database, right, you actually want to have neat column. Columns are properties or attributes, and then the rows, right, are every instance of something. So in this case, right, every row should be every participant, every boat. Okay, and their properties are their position, points, what distance, what kind of boat, and what division, all these things. Yeah, I'm going to close this because this is not what we should want to do. And also, right, if you are dealing with a large database, that may also change, right? So for our case, right, the database will not, I mean, the source data wouldn't change because it's just a fixed past year file. Okay, it wouldn't update itself. If, right, your source file is some website, okay, and the info on the website, right, may change. Maybe it's for example, stock prices or whatever not. Okay, maybe it's weather data. Okay, then every day you have new data coming in. So if you want something that's live, right, and not every time you go and redo all the copy paste to turn things into table, right, then Power Query will be powerful because, right, once you establish the rules of transforming the data, every time you click refresh, right, inside Power Query, it will automatically, right, run all the steps, right, on the new updated data and put it over to your spreadsheet, okay? So you can work with updated data and it's dynamic, okay? So to begin, right, we open Excel and we have just go to, so please follow along, okay? And I will wait for you. And some steps, right, I will let you try and you will only learn when you try them, okay? Then if you don't know, right, you can't get a result, let me know. Anyway, the file that I sent, right, already have the model solution, so-called lah. So learn as much as you can. If not something you learn, you forgot, right, you can always refer back to the model solution to see how it's done. Okay, so first step, right, is go to open a Excel, open a blank spreadsheet, but now I will just open this one, okay? So you go to data and then click, okay? So get data, right, is initiating the Power Query. So you can choose, right, which source that you want. So in this case, right, all our files are PDF. So we'll just choose from PDF, okay? So at this step, you can choose the 2017 SG full result. That's the example that I have created. My computer is quite slow, so it may load slower than yours, okay? So at this step, right, you'll see that you have a choice to select which item to load. Since this is a PDF, right, PDF got many pages, okay? So in this case, how many pages? I think it's 65, okay? 65 pages. So you can actually have a preview of each page. So it's going to load, right, the data one page at a time, okay? So you see, this is how the data looks like, okay? And you can see, right, there's a lot of redundant columns. For example, even the colon, you see this column 5, right? There's nothing one. It's just a colon because it cannot recognize that the round colon is one thing and it choose to open up another column for that. So you see, but it's actually a lot neater than the Excel version, the brute force export method. The brute force export method, right, give us 49 columns. This is only 13 columns. So it's a neater data to start off with already, okay? So you can choose, right, which one you want. For this example, right, because I don't want to one by one go and do, okay, because the pages are quite similar. So the way to do it, right, is to actually, we want to load many pages all at once. So one way is simply to select multiple pages and then you just click, okay, select, okay. This is very slow because you have 65 pages to select. So I'm just going to anyhow select one page first. Then I'll show you a shortcut, okay? So let's just select page 1 and
I think
we'll...
shift and then press down.
Sorry?
Shift, then you select all. You can select shift and then you just down, the down arrow. You try?
Oh, okay. I didn't realize.
Okay. Down arrow, yeah.
That's good. Okay, so that's one way. The way that I end up using later on, right, is to edit inside the code so I can show you also.
Okay. But this one only got 65 pages, so I just shift and then I press that.
It makes sense. I didn't realize got the shift, and so the first few attempts, right, I was like really clicking, and then I realized it's so slow. Then I went
got
online.
two formats. Two formats. One is like table O something, then got the bracket page 65, and then another one is page 001. So
correct.
Do I?
No. I suggest, I know why I don't want to do that really. Just select one page or one table. You see, when you click shift and press down, right, when you select multiple pages or multiple tables, right, what will happen is, you see, like what we see here, you will actually load many query. We actually want to do it within one query rather than do it as many query. You see why in a while. So let me go back to double click on any of the query that has been created, right? And let me delete away all this that I don't want.
Just choose one page only now.
Just one page. So here, right, it has only loaded one page worth of data. Okay. So the method, right, to get all pages to be loaded inside the same query, right, is to use the editor. In this example file, right, you can see there's already a 2017. You right click on it, and you go to the advanced editor. And right, this advanced editor is basically, right, the code for the entire query. So you can see that every
how do you
line.
get the 2017 energy? Do you do it on the new one or?
Do you open the 2017 Excel file? So you don't see this 2017. Let me go back one step. So from here, right, the get data, then after that you from file, then you where's the 2017? Okay. And then you just click one page, and once you have actually from here, right, we can click transform also. If you click transform, right, it brings you to the Power Query window. Okay. So let's just show. Okay, so it brings us to the Power Query window. And because inside yours, you don't see the 2017.
No, I only see the table 001 bracket page 1.
Okay.
Because that's what I selected. Yeah.
The NSG should appear inside your query also because it's saved inside the same. Okay. In any case, right, let me show you this. Then later I can copy and paste in the Zoom chat. You can copy and paste this line. Okay. So basically, right, under the advanced editor, so this is the code for all the steps, okay, that has been performed already. The first step, right, for this code is actually to load the file. So first line is telling you, right, where's the source? So the source is actually a PDF. I'm going to copy this entire line, okay. I always recycle the same line, but I will change the file name when I'm dealing with something else. So all the source code will go under the, so all the code will go under the let. And when the code ended, right, is under this in. So the last executed line, right, is called the it will be written under the in as well. I have no idea what's this language. Okay, I have no idea. I'm just figuring out from the pattern spotting. You will copy this line, Control C. Let me paste inside the Zoom chat for you. Okay. Then you go to the page that you have, right? Whatever page, it doesn't matter one. It doesn't matter what you load. So under here, right, paste. Okay, make sure that you don't have any the parentheses are correct. So here is a round close bracket. Then from here, press enter, then delete or backspace, and type in. Okay, then enter, next line, then tab, or then write source, because source is the last executed line. So right, once you're done, do you get this page?
Sorry, can you go back to the advanced editor?
Advanced editor. So you copy paste the let. Then next line, source equal whatever, right? Hey, Cheryl, welcome. You missed the introduction, but here is just the beginning of the actual thingy, so you hasn't missed much technically.
Hey, thanks, Vitong. Hello. Hey, hi, Yuning.
Hello.
Can I backtrack a few steps, okay, so that to show Cheryl what to do. Cheryl, can you open the 2017 file? I will not explain to you. I just teach you what to do, what to press first, okay? Then
Okay.
So you go to this thing called get data. Under the data tab, then press right. You choose from file. So this is which source you want.
I extracted this way before. This I know how to do.
Oh, you know how to do. Okay. So once you are inside, right, then you can choose to load the file, right? You want to get to that step first?
I'm trying to go home from office, so no problem. I will look at your recording later. It's okay.
Okay. Hey, why don't you, right, be safe and drive or whatever? You can refer to the video later on to follow. Okay, you want to listen along the way also can, up to you. So anyway, so you're not at your terminal at the moment.
I just finished the meeting with the national coaches. I'm still in office. Yeah.
Okay. Then you slowly pack up, and then your priority is to get yourself some dinner and get home. Okay, you want to listen along, can okay.
Yeah, don't mind. I will just listen along. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Yuning, you see here, right? You can see the do you get this page?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
But I don't have the valid error empty column.
Okay, that one, right, is under view. When you click view, right, then you can choose the column quality. So if you click the column quality, then it will tell you all this. Okay. This is actually quite useful. I didn't use it in the past few days. I only discovered this like this morning. Okay. So once you're here, right, you see this query has loaded all 65 pages, right? Just now we noticed that there is a page and there's also a table. Okay. In my experience of dealing with these files, right, the for 2017 onwards, it's all same format, the PDF file. I realized it's better to use the page rather than the table. Okay, because the table will cut out some names from the bottom of the table. So if it's a K4, right, only the first name of the K4 will appear. So these are just nuances. I don't know why you cannot read it. So the next step, right, I will choose, you see, all this arrow here is a filter. So it's, we don't see any of the data being shown up because, right, it's hidden. It's under this data, this expand. So if you click expand, then you will open up everything. Okay. Here, right, we will click under the kind, right, we filter out only the pages. Then you click OK. So now you only see a page. You still see no data. Next step is to click expand. And when you click, by the way, right, whenever you click all this filter, right, always sometimes you see this thing called always click the load more, because, right, they are only giving you a preview of what is inside this column in terms of the what you can see as a filter options are. But then, right, they only preview the first don't know how many 100 rows, and the file that we're dealing with is huge. It's a couple of thousands. So you always need to load more. Load more, then you can see. Then you show you everything. So now we're going to load all 13 columns. And now, right, once it's expanded, and you can see, right, the step is here already. These are what we call steps. Everything that you execute, right, is a step. This step, right, you can, later on you realize you did something wrongly, you can go back and redo, or you find that the sequence is wrong, you can actually reverse them, or you are missing a certain step, you can insert a step. So that is the architecture of this whole thing, or the concept of thing. So the step thing is very important to understand. At first I look at this, right, I actually feel very overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. Then I watched some video, then I realized if you do Photoshop before, right, then you realize, right, that it's similar. So you are actually applying, right, Photoshop, you transform image. Here you transform data. It's the same. It's one step at a time. You do something, then something, then something. So we see this, right? Basically, right, the first 3 columns are useless already. So once they are useless, right, I actually always want to Marie Kondo my data so that I see less things. So let me go and remove them. Okay. Don't worry if you regret. You can always go back to the previous step and remove that step. Okay, so you can follow me, copy every step. Then next up, right, is all. I want to inspect the data. Okay, so you look at the original file, right? The files looks like this. One row of all this header, right, with all this information. The end goal is I want to extract order. Order is the race lah. I call it as race. Okay, which event of the day. Then the round, I also want the round. But actually, I don't want the 1 or 2, 1 out of 2, 1 out of 3. I just want to know it's hit or semi only. Then there's also the event. Event got 2 info. One is the division, which is clearly something that I want to be standalone. I don't want the A girls K1 1000 as one thing. I want them as 2 things. A girls, so that later on, if I want to filter out only A girls, all boats, I can see. Okay. And also, I want to have the race separately. So my end goal is I want to have these 2, right, separate. Okay, time not important. I don't want this time. This is a race time. Okay, and in a table, right, lane I probably will keep, but not very important. Boat I will need to keep because, right, this one is quite important. Later on, right, if you want to identify 2 things from the same school, because, right, if you don't have the boat, you'll have problem doing some lookup later on. If you have 2, because every school can send 2 boats to that race, right? So if got 2 boats in a certain final and later you want to perform some lookout, right? It can only look up the first thing. So if you can identify the boat further by the boat 1 or boat 2, then, right, you can look up to the specific one, okay? And also the name and so on. So the next round, I don't want. This info I all don't want because these are just intermediate steps. Qualify, don't qualify, I also don't want. So basically, right, the end result is what you see in the table here. Okay, we want year, race, lane. Lane actually not very important, but I'm not going to remove it. Which round, boat, division, distance, then the school name, position, point. Don't have timing. That 2017 no timing, and also better because timing will complicate the steps by a lot. So that's why I also choose this as an example. So we inspect the data, right? Let's go back to Power Query. So you see, what I do as a first step, right, I column by column, right, look at what is inside this column, okay? Don't be fooled by what you see in the first 30, 40 rows. It's fake one. Because, right, you scroll down, you can see that one page to the next page, right, you see the schools, right, appear in the different column already. Because every page, right, the thing is very dumb. Realize, right, that the school should all be placed in the same column. So you see, across the page boundary, next page, school is in a different column. So we want to know, right, across all 65 pages, which are the columns that contain each of the things that we want, okay? So first column is very straightforward. You see, I see inside this column, right, column 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is obviously a lane. And I can also see the table header, lane, okay? So I know this is lane. So this is straightforward. So what I will do at this step is also I will rename all the column so that later on, right, I know I won't get confused. I don't want to see all the numbers without the things. So in this first column, right, I see lane. So I just put column 1 dot lane. Okay. This is just my own method. Nothing consequential. It's for tidiness only. Okay. And as you can see, once I rename columns appear. Next, right, is I can click the next column. So I inspect again. You can see that in this column, right, there's only the table header, boat, and most of the content are 1 or 2. And there's also now. Now means empty. Okay, empty. Empty and blank are different things. Later on, I'll explain to you. It's all just the boat. So I will call column 2, right? I'll rename it as well. Okay, boat 1, boat 2. So far is straightforward because, right, from these two things, right, are from the left of the table. The thing get messy, right, once you get to the middle of the table. So across different table, right, you will see that the things will jumble up already. Okay, so you look at column 3, right? Column 3 got what? Column 3 got the event. This appear
event
in
and school. Got event and got school.
got school, right? So 麻烦了咯. So it's not the same kind of thing. So here, right, I will type 3 and event school. So I know this column got school. Okay, later on you want to extract school, I need to consider this column. Then column 4 also same. Okay, event and school. And also, is there round? Oh, not yet. Okay. So I will rename 4 event school 2. Name whatever lah, as long as you can recognize can already. And column 5, you see column 5 got the round already because the round happens in the header ma. Sometimes you confuse, right? You look back at the PDF file. The round is in the header. Then we have a lot of school. Basically only school. No other things really. Okay. So here, right, 5 is you get the drift, right? Then you can start to go ahead of me if you want to. And this column is what? Only round. 6 is. You can place the window parallel to each other or above and below the Zoom call and your own Excel. See both things. This column 7 also contains some final. You see, the final always is weird because, right, final got points. And final don't have the qualify and the next round progress to where. But so the final columns are a little bit different. So often you see the finals, right, the odd guys out. So here also got rounds. So round 2. Column 8. No more rounds already. But column 8 got the event. A girls and got the names of the students already. Numbers are on top. So once you don't see numbers, any other numbers, okay, then you know. So this one is event name. Okay, 9 is event name as well. But you see, why here got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Is because, right, this is the position already. So some tables, right, the next column, which is the position, right, already mixed over and overlap with the names. Okay, because different tables have aligned like differently. So here you have event name, comma, and position. Then we have what? And we have position and names and more. I still got some events. So you see the events I spill over 3 columns. Here I did something dumb. Last time I don't use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So if the same name appear, I need to put 2. Now I don't need to put 2 because they are unique. Then this column is 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? This one you need to be very careful. Once you see 7, you know there's points already. So this column is points and position, and the next column is points and any position don't have. So how to make sure that don't have position, right, is you read don't have a content called position. So position is not inside this column. Okay, so this column is pretty clean. It's just point. I think 13 is also just point. And you see, point you don't see one, right, until you click load more, because, right, the points are all in the final, and final is very, very low. So the preview don't show the 1, 2, 3 the points. Okay, so done. You see, I pressed wrongly. I pressed OK. So it added a filter wrong, although I never filter anything. So I'm going to remove it. What did I do? Remove this. I remove this. rename this. I just want to have as few steps as needed, okay, so that later on it's not complicated. If you want to, right, now you can rename your step. So it's just this rename after first inspection, okay, so that you know this step correspond to what, because it may get very, very messy one, okay. Some of my query, right, got 20, 30 steps, very messy. Then later on, something go wrong, right? Actually, I get headache. I have to step by step and click and see which one it corresponds to. So now I can start to deal with things already. Lane, obviously, I don't need to do anything because it's a very, very tidy, okay? Next thing, right, is boats. I also no need to do anything because it's all inside the same column. So these two columns, I can technically do nothing, okay? The next thing I want to deal with is, right, I tell you my thinking. I will tackle the columns, right, the item from the leftmost and from the rightmost, because, right, they are the least overlapped ones, okay, tidiest one. So event and event, I will try to, so now I need to look, right, how do I extract out the event? Event are like in the first item, right, of the whole mini table. So I need to extract them out, and they are appearing across two columns. So here, right, I will introduce this idea called conditional column. So, sorry, too fast. Go to add column, okay? Then choose the conditional column. So this thing will pop up. So here, right, you will choose what? Write the name. So we are doing event. Oh, this is actually race. I don't want to confuse myself. It's not event. I actually my term for this is called race. Okay. So which day, which event. And here, right, this is how it works. Want this thing, right, to read column 3 first. Okay. Read column 3. Recognize all those things that looks like the race. So it's 1-1, 1-2, so on, right? So what's common of all the terms, all these entries, right, is they all contain a dash. So for example, right, your initial thought could be, right, or I want read column 3, anything that contains a dash, okay? Then I will output into a new column, right? Then here you can select, you can define what is the output you want by entering a value. So you can define, right, or ABC. Then whenever it finds a dash, it will output ABC. But we don't want that. We want to, if you find a dash, I want it to output that item. Okay, I want to output this column 3. If you find a dash in column 3, output column 3 inside this new column that we are creating. Okay, so this is the basic thinking. So and we still have column 4. So you see, this is the first step, right? Go to column 3, look for a dash, then output. Then after that, right, go to column 4, look for a dash. Let me tell you the disclaimer. This is the wrong method. Okay. So we will try it first. I'll show you why is it wrong. You see, now, right, we actually have something close to the answer that we want. Okay, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. You see, it's a new column created. Then it has all the error. Because, right, it didn't manage to find 1-1, 1-2, all these things, right, which is fine, okay, but there is some issue, okay. To click the filter, right, oh shucks, cannot filter because there's a lot of error, so the filter don't work with error. But anyway, you can see, right, that later on ACS independent will appear because, right, our logic is look for dash. So this is flawed already. So we want dash, right, but we don't want ACS independent, okay, or ACJC. So that method cannot, okay. Moreover, right, you can realize that there's you see, long strings of error here. It didn't even manage to find anything, but you know there is something that it's supposed to find. You see, it's supposed to recognize the 110, right, or 111, but it didn't recognize the 110 and 111. It just return you error. Because, right, that's the issue with the null cells, right, cannot be searched for. You cannot search a text in a null cell. If you search a text in a null cell, right, it will return error. And because you are doing a series of if-then statements, right, once you have the error in the first if-then, then the entire if-else, right, all cannot run already. Once the if-then fail, if-else also won't run. So it wouldn't run the look for column 4, see whether there's 110. So in this whole thing, right, all the rays in column 4 all cannot be identified. Okay, so there's something I need to do before this step. So now we can insert a step. Okay, so I go back to the previous step, right? After I rename, what I want to do is actually, right, I will select everything. Okay, just Control A, and then, right, I will right click okay, right click, okay, and then you drop down, go to this thing called replace value. They will prompt you, do you want to insert a step? Because you insert a step, you may cause a remaining subsequent step to screw up. Okay, you just insert. Now you will open up the replace. So the warning will always happen, right? Whenever you try to insert a new step somewhere in the middle. Then what is the value you want to find? We want to find, right, all the null cell. Null cell, you just type out null, okay? To replace it with blank. So blank and null cell are different, or they have different property. Blank, you just don't type anything. Don't type space. Space is not the same as blank. Okay, then you, okay, now very good. So all the null cells, right, got replaced with blank. Now you go to the conditional column. Then you can see just now we cannot find the 1-10, 1-11, right? Because it's in column 4. Scroll over, now you can find already. Okay, we overcome the cannot run if else or with the error or due to the null cell. We still have not solved the ACS problem. So means, right, our logic still not good enough. We know that all the, so you see, why we choose dash? Because we want to try to look for the simplest rule that can distinguish this thing that we want to find. Obviously, the dash is simple, but it's not distinguishing enough. So cannot. The next simplest, I think, is just to force a little bit more and say, right, we look for 1-, 2-, 3-, 4-. Okay, so you have to create a lot more rules. So you have 4 rules times 2 columns to search for. So you need 8 of these lines. Now I'm just going to quickly do it. You can follow along. Okay. So the first 4, right, you choose.
Is it easier if we put does not contain like Anglo dash or something like? Oh, but then the column wise, okay.
Does not contain.
instead
So column. But what if column 3 contain Anglo-Chinese? If it does not contain, right, it will so all like HCI, they will return you.
Oh, okay, that's true. Okay.
So I know what you mean. But does not contain, I'm not very good with the logic yet. I also thinking, right, how to use does not contain to shortcut some of this brute force way. Not very successful so far. So now I'm just going to use something that's, I can tell you, right, this is not the worst. There will be some things that is even worse. Because here don't have any of the operator as, right, greater than or if is a number kind. If got such things, right, it will be a lot easier. Here is purely, right, contain, is looking for text. So this is a regular expression kind of thing, is looking for text. So I'm going to do a 1-, 2-.
Sorry, I interrupt a while. Like what you're showing us now with this file, right? You encounter this issue for which years of the results? This one is
Every
the
year.
201 every year has this problem.
Every year, because the columns, right, can never align one. And also, right, the ADIF, A girls before 1000, that thing, right, is always on top of the table. Understand? It's
a
this,
header, right?
Right.
It doesn't fall nicely into the, okay.
It doesn't appear in a row instead. So we are trying to use transformation method, right, to pull that information that lies in a header into every row without copy paste.
Okay, because I'm trying to think, at least for the national competition, now we have the Google Sheets, right? Is there does that help, or like what's the ideal data format that can be reader friendly and also can be used for this kind of data analysis?
That's a good question. So the best format, right, is directly do in unpivoted manner. Unpivoted means, right, all the property associated with each instance already packed inside the instance. Means, right, you wouldn't call this hit 1, then you have a header which is K1 1000, then lane 1 to lane 6. So you will have K1 1000 in lane 1 to lane 6. You will have one more, some columns. Actually, it's not difficult, All we can do is just hide all these columns that we don't want to show. But these are essential for subsequent analysis. Because, right, this is the data, right, that the computer can understand and can later on, right, and be fed into higher order tools, right, like the pivot table. So this is the format that the pivot table wants. Yeah.
So if I look at this, right, is it necessary to split it even further? So instead of A boys, should it be column for division? So A, B, C, then a column for girls and boys. And same for the boat and distance. Should there be one column for K1, K2, K4, and then one for 1500?
You technically can. Then if you want K1 1000, then you are simply setting 2 filter instead of 1. So instead of setting boat slash distance, which is K1 1000, you set 1 filter, which is the boat type K1, then another filter, which is 500. That's fine. So that one is possible. Or then that way, right, you can also A is 1, then the gender is another 1. Also can, depending on subsequently how you want to use it already. Later I will show you how to split from the thing that we have currently.
Because so far what I'm hearing is like it's a super painful process because of the way the data is structured in that PDF file.
Yeah, we should have gotten the vendor, right, to give us something that's his source file.
Yeah, I mean if it's even in an Excel format, it's easier to copy out, and rather
Yes.
than having to force it from a PDF into this get data thing, right?
The Excel format, right, will be a lot easier. But even in Excel format, right, sometimes whoever creates the file, right, may not have this thing in mind. So they may also use they have some what we call it dirty data practices, right, that cause certain things to be too pivoted. Okay.
Yeah, it's
so
like mixing two things in one cell, right?
like various thing, right, they should be separate instances, but they are combined. So it will be less painful if you are working with Excel, but the skills will still be applicable. So this is just painful because of this PDF. It's just a few more manual steps lah. But then if you think about the once you are proficient, right, this thing I can do in 20 minutes. This afternoon I did one time in 20 minutes. It's not that bad.
One time meaning this is 1 day of results, right? Then you need to times 4 and
No, this is already 4 days. So actually,
4
right,
days.
if, for example, if you if the data come from the same vendor, right, if the files are all similar format, that means, right, the column are all in the same order, right, you can actually combine even more files like 2017, 18, 19, 20, all combined as one file, and you run it one time. Okay. But
Okay,
if
understand.
the columns are not in the same order, or you do such a thing, right, you have 30. So the less jumbled up the data are, the better. Sorry. Go back to
Understand.
the conditional format, right? So now I will just return column 3 for the first 4, column 4 for the next 4. Now I think maybe, right, I wouldn't demonstrate 100%. Okay, you can refer to the solution and see some of the other steps, or just learn some skills. Okay.
Mr. Quack, for the else, I think you will want to replace it as a blank. Bottom under at clause, there's the else. I think you want to remove the now as well because we already removed now previously.
Oh, this one you actually need to leave as now. Later on, right, I'll tell you like in the next step. So now we press OK, right? How to make sure that we have done it correctly. So go back to the filter, right? You can see we expect, right, every the running order of all the number. So 10 to 19, 20 to 29, you can just scroll down to see the extreme. Day 4, 40 to 48. 48 is the last event. Okay, so this one is quite good. Now, do I want to keep it as a now, right? Because I'll now give you an error when you are trying to do the if else. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is called fill down. Okay, it's basically, right, reading the first non-empty value in a column, right? And if there are empty columns, you see what is 1-1, right, applies to the next many rows. So I actually want to have 1-1, right, being copy paste down all the remaining rows. Then 1-2 copy down and paste all the remaining rows. So this is what the fill function is for. So you press fill, then done. So now, right, every row will have their corresponding event. You can understand why this is important because, right, we are going to do this same step, right, process for later on, extracting out the A girls, the K1 1000 meter, and then we want to apply it to all the rows under the same. Okay, so this is a useful. Okay, so this one we have done the race, so you can name rename. So for this demo, I don't rename already. Okay, next, right, let me show another thing. The round is easy. Okay, round is easy. Just round, right, is just heat, final, and semi. So I will create another conditional column. Okay, I'll call this round. I want to apply, read from the left. Okay, 5 first, 3 columns. Oh, yeah, 3 columns that contain round. And each one, right, the thinking is, oh, if it contains a hit, I want to return a hit. Okay, so 3 column times 3, we need 6. We need 9, sorry. So 5, 5, 5, 6. Now you see we are doing things nearer to the left side of the table. So I will actually use the sequence of from left to right. Later on, I will give you an example. Maybe understanding your data, and you realize maybe it will be a good idea to do it the other way around instead. So we are still looking for the content. Okay. So as long as content hits, I'll return the exact same text. I just return hits. I don't want to know the number. So here content hit. It may have 1/3, but doesn't matter. Then hit, then here is semi, else. When you don't put anything, it's by default now. Okay, so I think this should work. Yeah, I made a mistake. Oh, it's supposed to choose 7. It's the wrong column. So I press OK. So now, we have all the hit, all these things extracted. Okay, to make sure that you are correct, always just scroll down manually, to see, okay, nothing suspicious. Now the next step, you can do the fill down again. Go to transform, go to fill down. Which race is what type, which round, you know already. So now, let's go to point. Okay, point is a interesting thing, because point overlap with position. Position is a number, point is also a number, and it is just nice, you have 1 to 5 all overlapping. Point has 7, position has 6. Consider, if we were to introduce a conditional column, to look for position or look for point, or let's consider we look for point, okay? And here, you need to actually, sequence things differently. You cannot look for column 11 first, then column 12 and 13, okay? Because, some columns contain position in column, some rows contain position in column 11. So if we sequence it this way, for those columns that have position in 11, end up position will be red. If then, if else, or is sequential. So in this case, these are the things you need to take note, or else, may end up read other things. I mean, for other sets of data that you do, you always need to understand the data, how it's being presented, and this kind of tricky cases. So I want it to be this way instead. Okay, and since here don't have any numerical operator, I have to do brute force. So here is simply how you have to do it 13, 12, 11 times all the 7 different points. Okay, so actually I want to have 7, okay, then you key in 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 0 is also a point, because people who DNF, they will get 0. Okay, then you do the same. Then you can get out the point. And then you have to do it for the column 12, column 11. Very troublesome. Okay, like if you watch all the cooking show, they will show you the tedious thing, okay, or the thing that takes a long time. Then they will take out from the microwave. This is something I cooked a while ago. Okay, so let me show you the thing that I cooked beforehand already. Point is already done. Here is actually everything is done. Okay, I'm going to backtrack and show you how we get names or how we get school. Okay, so far, just now we started from the left. We done round. We haven't done event. So let's talk about event first. Okay, we've done round and race already. Event is also on the top. Okay, so what do we want to do? Once again, event is also a conditional trick. Okay, so you notice, all the event is either contain a boy or it contain a girl. Okay, so that's a easier set of rules, to implement. So I show you how it looks like under the event. So basically, I look for 8, 9, 10, these 3 columns, look for boy and girl. Okay, and then display out 8, 9, 10. So this gives us this column girls. So you can just double check, you can do a count, make sure that, for example, you can just do a random one. For C girls, there should be 7 events. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, indeed. You can just do some random spotting to make sure that nothing goes wrong. So event is out. So once event is out, then the next thing is actually name. And name, is headache because, for this column, it doesn't, for other files that you are dealing with, if there are this kind, so many variation, you can't have a rule, for the names, then what do you do? So for this case, I observe that name is found in column 8, column 9, column 10. Okay, in these 3 columns, right, whenever there's a name, okay, if name is in 8, then 9 will be position, then 10 will be qualify or don't qualify. Okay, in other cases, right, sometimes 8 will be empty, 9 will be name, then 10 will be position. So perhaps, right, I will want to get rid of the position first, or I want to do up the position first, okay, so that, right, this position column, I no longer need it. Okay, end goal is to simply, right, merge across 3 columns. So if I can get rid of the positions, then I don't need all the positions here already. I can use replace text, replace away all these numbers. Can also replace text, replace away all the Q, qualify. Then, right, I combine all these columns. What it will do is, right, just combine laterally lor. So now if you combine, you'll see 邱子轩 4, okay, which you don't want. You don't want the 4. So you simply, right, remove this. So my idea is to do the extract out the position. So let me show you the add position step. Very similar to all the conditional format, conditional column we have done. You can see, right, column 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 did not start, did not finish, and disqualified. Okay, done. So you get the position column out. And we already done the point. So now, right, this series of, you look at the right hand side, there's a whole series of replace text. What I did is basically, right, replace away all the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and all the Qs. But you need to be careful when you use the replace text. For example, when I want to replace 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right, it's actually fine, okay, because, right, names usually don't have number one. So I wouldn't accidentally replace character 1, which is inside the name. Okay,
but the QTY, you will replace the Q with the space, then it come TY only.
Correct lor.
So
here you need to
QF1, match entire cell contents.
yeah lor. So there are some things nuances. That time I don't know how to use this, or then all the quack all become whack. Okay, don't have Q already. Then so I replace finish, then finally I merge. And before I merge, right, I still have these 3 columns. Once I merge, okay. So let me show you how to merge. Merge is actually pretty easy. Just select the 3 columns that you want, and right click and select merge columns. So you will see you can right away name the new column here. So I call it name, and then if you want a separator, you can add. Okay, for example, if you want to distinguish item by item by item, you can put a comma, colon, whatever. But now actually I don't want. I want them to show me name. So I want none. Cancel. So after merge, you get this. You see, all these things, right, turn out ugly, right? But it doesn't matter. All these things. Because I'm going to filter away all these dirty stuff, right, later on. And the things that I want, right, all the names are all clean already. And I already have gotten all the ADIF girls, K1, 1000 out earlier on. With that, right, I'm almost done. Okay, in fact, right, all the data are extracted out. Now it left, right, to discarding things. I will discard away all the columns, right, that I don't want, all the rows that I don't want. See the situation here. I go to here, I go and filter out all the rows with headers, right, I don't want. So I filter out order and don't remove blank. Because, right, for K2, the second person is a second row, but the second person don't have a new lane number. So blank actually correspond to the alternate person. Okay, the second person or the second, third, fourth person for K4. So I filter away the rows. See, now a lot cleaner. All these useless things are gone. Then I see it still got the first to third to final. So come to wherever you see it, right? You load more and filter away all these. Then even cleaner. I'm going to remove this because actually I filtered already. You see, this is super clean already. Then remove all the unwanted columns. So the column with the Q I don't want, some in-between column I don't want. You see, this is close to end result. Very clean already. Finally, right, I want to replace blank back with now. Because, right, just now see, all this boat 1, boat 2, right, because just now I haven't done the fill down. I don't want to do fill down earlier on because there could be places I don't want to be filled down. Okay. Oh, here got some issue. Boat number is missing. Oh, because, right, here is all this year, right, when it's K4, they didn't include boat number. Obviously, K4 can only send 1 boat. So this part you have to be careful. Obviously, K4 technically should all be boat 1. So that one we can deal with it later. One thing you can't do, right, is you can't edit any cell. Okay, so now I'm going to replace everything back with now so that I can do all the filling down. Okay, So now for all the K2s, right, both person in the K2 share the same boat number. Finally, right, because my end result, I know I want to do for many years. Okay, so this entire table, right, there's one more property that they all have, is they all happen in 2017. Or later on, right, if you want to add NJCC results also in, then you need one more column to tell that this is a NSG or the NJCC. Okay, now I'm just going to add a year. How do we add a new column in here, right, which you specify one? So you go to under add column, right, go to custom column. Okay, you see this window. So here, right, you can actually do something more powerful. Okay, you can have formulas, like you want this column to be the average of another 3 column or whatever, right? Also you can have formula. Here, right, I don't want, I just want a simple column which is called a year. So this is 2017. Just click a number. So every cell will carry the same value. So 2017. Then finally, right, is how you want to sequence your columns for your own preference, right? I reorder. So you just simply click the column, drag to wherever you want it. Here I have it. This is the end result already. Year, race, lane, round, boat, division, boat distance, school, name, position, points, 100% there. Okay, bonus item. I'll show one more thing. Something that I use, right, in my earlier queries. Because in my earlier queries, right, actually I didn't deal with the names. I left the name empty. I actually discarded away the names because for the later years, right, the font size they use caused the names to be all messed up. Okay, the names are messed up. So I actually have a different method for getting names. What I want to show, right, is a method. Okay, what you use it for is depending on your situation. So this method, right, is to add a new by example. So you see what it means. For example, I want to have a lookup contain, let's say, year. So I want to be like 2017 NJC A girls K1 1000 meter boat 1. So that later on, right, if I want to extract all these things out, can have this particular lookup column, right, that can filter down to just this thing. Once again, the use is up to you, but I'm just showing the method. So we will select I want to have year as part of the input to this new column, right? I want to have the school. I want to have the division, boat, distance. Okay, so I selected all these columns. Column from example. Then you click from selection. Okay, this is very, very smart and very powerful. Now, actually, right, you have something in mind. You don't have to code. You don't need to know the formula. So I simply write this. Okay, 2017. What is this row? This NJC. 2017 National Junior College A girls A1 1000 meter boat. Press OK. What this function allows you to do, right, is guessing on what is the format to populate, right, the whole column. What is the formula? Okay, so just now I just type out something I have in mind, layman. Okay, no code at all, no formula, no function. Now, right, you go to this part, right, if you don't see this formula here, you go to view, then you click show the formula bar. Okay, show the formula bar will appear. So this new column that we created, right, look at the formula. It is saying, right, that we actually want to, how do I expand this? Okay, we want to text combine. So it's actually like a concatenate. Okay, text combine, text from year. Okay, so the year is read as a number lah. So they are trying to convert the number into a text. So text from year, a space. The inverted comma is just to denote it's a certain string. So then the school, then a space, then the division, then a space, then this boat distance. Okay, K1 1000. Then not a space, but a space with a text or a string, boat. Then another space. Then finally, the boat number. This formula is applied to all things. So just now, right, we type in a example, then it came out with this for you. So I think this is pretty powerful. Okay. Sometimes you do Excel, right, like you do something, then like you want to extract out the first name of a name, right, like Peter Davidson, or you type up Peter in the next column, right, it automatically generate all the first name filled down because, right, it's running by the same algorithm. It's guessing, right, what are you trying to do, okay, and turn that into a formula. Yeah, okay. So actually, right, we are done already for this particular query. So now, right, let me show you what's the next step once you're done. So go back to file, then right, you choose close and load. So this query, right, is a separate thing, standalone from your spreadsheet, okay? It's just, right, there's a set of orders how to process this particular source, but we haven't displayed them on the spreadsheet yet, okay? Then you close and load, right, you'll see your query appearing here. So just now, the query that we are dealing with is the page 1. Page 1 is the semi-done one. The 2017 NSG is the one that's done. So let's load the page 1, the semi-done one, okay? So you right click, you can click load to. So load to, right, you want to load a new table. Okay, so you click table and spreadsheet where you want to load it. You want to put on this spreadsheet or you want to put on a new one. So I will choose a new one. Okay, data model, this one I'm not very familiar. So press OK. So now, right, this new table will be populated based on wherever step that the query was left off. Okay, just now that query wasn't done. Okay, so you see, that is that particular version on the done version. But the done version is here. It's very, very clean already. And then here, what you want to do, up to you. So that's story for another day. So this query thing, right, is to turn source into any question. You don't see the 2017 NSG query inside your file.
Not from my end, but I get what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I say, I'm just a less noob version of 3 days ago, which is a total beginner, or 5 days ago, total beginner. So I also don't know why I'm guessing the query is saved with the file, which I have sent to you. But it turns out that the query doesn't seem to be packaged together with the file. I'll try to figure that out. Okay. So
Bitong Sharon here. Can I ask a question on what you just said? So when you run these different queries, right, where is it saved? Like it's like you just file save or how does it work?
Exactly right. I don't know where this query is saved in. So this query
But
is
if
actually
you,
right very
yeah.
very light. It's just a set of instruction. You see, we go back to this query, right? So what this whole query is about, is you see, you right click and you look at the advanced editor, right? It's just this set of code. It's just saying, right, that the first step do what, second step do what, third step do what. So this query, right, doesn't carry any data saying, right, open this file, then do all these steps. So this query is
It's
actually
like sort of like a macro kind of thing, right? Yeah, basically writing the script, right? So where is this thing saved?
I also
Like
don't
if
know.
you okay, but if you save your, I don't know, you click file save, right? And then you close this, I don't close now, but you close this file and you open on your laptop again, you will be able to see all the queries, right?
Yeah. So this is a separate file that I created, right, for this workshop. And when I reopen it, I see the query linked to this file. So I'm
But you
guessing
said
that
when you
it's tagged to
send
the
over,
file.
then when you send over, then it disappears, is it?
It seems so. Maybe later you can try. I can try on my other laptop. I thought that it should work. I try on my other laptop and see how.
Can you click file save as? What else is there? What other save a copy?
Don't have really day. It's just like that lor.
Okay. Is this
I
a
don't think it's
normal?
to do with macro, and I don't think with it's I guess it is still saved in the Excel, but for some reason.
Okay,
Anyway,
no,
right,
no, no.
I think it's late. I think we can do the power pivot another time. Actually, this is pretty fun. You can use this, right, this way of thinking and apply it on anything that you want to turn into table. I very drawn to this. Actually, I feel that it's like playing game and solving a puzzle. You think of all the things that the ways to turn the data from the source to how you want it. Okay. One thing that you need to take note from here. From here, right, it is now in a table already. So if there are some issues, right? For example, just on the K4 by right, all supposed to be boat 1. Okay. So you can go and filter out and turn all K4 into boat 1 because you don't want to have some boat 1, some boat 2. It may cause confusion. Okay. So those are manual edit that you can do from here on. Whatever that you do here, right, doesn't affect your source file. Source file is an independent one, okay? And that is actually not done yet because K2 and K4, I will prefer the names inside the same row so that is just some further Excel steps. So not part of Power Query anymore. Power Query, unfortunately, right, cannot do things across rows. So I cannot say, oh, these 2 rows, I want them to share, I want to combine into one. So the 2 names appear in the same row instead of across 2 rows. There's no way Power Query can do that. So that one is the limitation. Any last question?
Not from my end. Thank you so much for sharing, Mr. Quack.
No
It's
problem.
very insightful.
Yeah, thanks,
I
Yutong.
just hope that
I think the
more-
recording is quite useful. It sounds quite step to step. I mean, I can see the screen sometimes, but most of the time I'm just listening. But it sounds quite there's like a tutorial. Lor. Thank you.
Yeah. I just like to share my excitement upon figuring out a powerful tool. Okay, so have a good rest. Most important is to hands-on. Go and try on something that interests you. Okay, this thing is what interests me. That's why I'm motivated to go and do it. Otherwise, this power query has been there. I always see it as well. I don't dare to touch it. Have motivation to work on. Okay, good night. Bye bye.
Thank you, Yutong.
Thank you.
Bye, Ning. Good night.
Good night. Bye bye.